Shalom, my friends. Welcome to chapter 4 in Galatiyim. And I say, for as long as the heir is a child, he is no different from a slave, though he is master of all, but is under guardians and trustees till the time prearranged by the Father. You see, in those days, children were considered equal to slaves until their father ordained them into sonship, ordained them into his family. And this happened at an age of the father's choosing. This is a matter of becoming B'nai Elohim, is what Shaul is talking about here. We take on Yahweh's name, and we become responsible to magnify it. This is the custom of old. This is also what he meant about not taking his name in vain, speaking of the Ten Commandments, or not bringing his name to naught, which certainly has been done. I mean, you bring his name to naught by removing it from his book. That's been done for thousands of years, amazingly enough. Verse 3, so we also, when we were children, were under the elementary matters of the world, being enslaved. But when the completion of the time came, Yahweh sent forth his bane, born of a woman, born under Torah, to redeem those who were under Torah, in order to receive the adoption as sons. Yahweh sent forth his bane. Yahweh Echad. Yahweh is one. You know, not only with his bane, but with those who become B'nai Elohim. A very select group of believers are the B'nai Elohim. These are those who are truly, deeply in love with him more than anything else in the known universe. Verse 6, and because you are sons, Yahweh has sent forth the Ruach of his bane into your hearts, crying, Abba, Father. This is where we get the name Abba from, is Shaul's writing here. Abba, Aleph, Bet, Aleph. It means Father of the house, house of the Father. When you cry out and call Yahweh Abba, that's like a very affectionate term, similar to daddy, but it means that, you know, you are the father of this house, and this house belongs to my Father. It is a total and circular dedication. Kodeshah. To be Kodesh. The Father says, you know, I'm Kodesh. I want you to be Kodesh. That's the English word we see as holy. I mean, what does holy mean? It's crazy. You know, what does it make you think of? Nothing. Candles? Stained glass windows? What? Kodesh is a reference to pure dedication. The Father says, I am Kodesh. I am dedicated to you. And I want you to be Kodesh. I want you to be dedicated to me. Abba, the Father of this house belongs to the Father. That is my daddy, Abba. It's a beautiful word. Verse 7, so you are no longer a slave, but a son. And if a son, also an heir of Elohim through Mashiach. But then indeed, not knowing Elohim, you served those which by nature are not mighty ones. But now, after you have known Elohim, or rather are known by Elohim, remember, I referenced, I think, a number of times in this study where people come up to Yeshua and they say, I served you my whole life. I preached your word all my life. I healed the sick. And what does Yeshua say? He says, go away from me, you evildoers. I never knew you. I was never intimate with you. And here, Shaul, or really the Ruach, is pointing this out again. But now, verse 9, after you have known Elohim, or rather, are known by Elohim. That's the important point. Do you know Elohim? And really, more importantly, does Elohim know you? How do you turn again to the weak and poor elementary matters to which you want to be enslaved again? Let me repeat verse 9. But now, after you have known Elohim, or rather are known by Elohim, how do you turn again to the weak and poor elementary matters to which you want to be enslaved again? You closely observe days and months and seasons and years. The Yahudim, the Jews, the Ivrim, the Hebrews, were very much aware and concerned about Yahweh's Moadim, his feast days, the calendars. Verse 10 again, you closely observe days and months and seasons and years. I fear for you, lest by any means I have labored for you in vain. Brothers, I beg you to become as I am, because I am as you are. You did not wrong me at all. But you know that through weakness of the flesh I brought the good news to you before. And my trial, which was in my flesh, you did not despise or reject, but you received me as a messenger of Elohim, as Mashiach Yeshua. What then was your beracha? For I bear you witness that if possible, you would have plucked out your own eyes and given them to me. What Shaul is talking about here, I think, is that he talks in other scriptures about a thorn in his flesh. There's another reference where he was at a meeting and he didn't recognize somebody. I don't know if it was a king or something like that. His eyesight. There's another scripture that says that, his writing was large. His eyesight. Here he says, you would have plucked out your eyes and given them to me. Reference to his eyesight. I think this goes back to the road, when he was on the road to Damascus, and he was blinded by the light of Yeshua. And, I think it messed his eyes up. I believe he had, trouble with his eyes in serious ways. And that's what I think what he's saying here. You would have plucked out your own eyes and you'd given them to me. Verse 16, so then, have I become your enemy, speaking truth to you? They are ardent towards you for no good, but they want to shut you out that you might be ardent towards them. And it's good always to be ardent in what is good, and not only when I am present with you, my little children, for whom I am again in birth pains until Mashiach is formed in you. Even now I want to be present with you now, and to change my voice, for I have doubts about you. Say to me, you who want to be under Torah, do you not hear the Torah? For it has been written that Abraham had 2 sons, one by a female servant, the other by a free woman. But he who was of the female servant was born according to the flesh, and he of the free woman through promise of Yahweh. This is allegorical, for these are 2 covenants, one indeed from Mount Sinai, which brings forth slavery, which is Hagar. For this Hagar is Mount Sinai in Arabia, and corresponds to Yerushalayim, which now is, and is in slavery with her children. But the Yerushalayim above is free, which is the mother of us all. For it has been written, rejoice, O barren, you who do not bear. Break forth and shout, you who do not have birth pains. For the deserted one has many more children than she who has a husband. Close quote. And we, brothers, as Yitzchak was, are children of promise. See, again, he's talking about these two ways of looking at the Torah. One is turning it into laws that you bind yourself to in order to prove your own glory, and to glorify yourself, or to make yourself righteous. And the other one is free. It's to look at the Torah as the Father's loving instructions to his children, and to embrace them, and get the point that is being made in the Father's loving instructions into your heart, and not to try and perform it, but to let it perform itself in you by the indwelling Ruach. Verse 29, but as he who was born according to the flesh then persecuted him who is according to the Ruach, so also now. But what does the scripture say? Quote, cast out the female servant and her son, for the son of the female servant shall by no means be heir with the son of the free woman. Close quote. Therefore, brothers, we are not children of the female servant, but of the free woman. There's chapter 4. We are not children of laws and efforts of the flesh, trying to make ourselves righteous for him. We are children of freedom, of his indwelling Ruach. We don't try to make ourselves righteous. We trust in him to be the author and the finisher of our faith. We trust in him to change us. And boy, he's Shaul, the Ruach, has spent a lot of time in this set of scriptures, trying to deliver that message. I hope you receive it well. Shalom, my friends.